The first one is wind. These are actually measured wind gusts from Irma. Now, I'm going to keep going back to this. At landfall, it was estimated 130-mile-an-hour sustained winds. For the National Hurricane Center, they're measuring 1 minute sustained winds. These, what we're seeing here, are 3-second gusts. So even though the Hurricane Center says that's what the estimated maximum wind speeds are, we rarely see measured wind speeds that get to those estimated levels. As soon as the hurricane winds start interacting with land, the speeds go down due to friction with land. So it's important to understand that 150-mile-an-hour hurricane does not create 150-mile winds almost anywhere. What we did from wind, though, is we did see significant structural damage from wind in the Keys. Outside the Keys, we didn't really see any significant structural damage. The other thing to note is the wind speeds are highest on the coast. So even though Southeast Florida, like Miami area, was not in the hurricane force winds, which are 74 mile an hour or greater, they had some wind gusts that were quite up there. You can see some 93, 85 mile an hour wind gusts down there. As soon as you get inland, those wind speeds are going to drop. So you're always going to have higher wind speeds immediately on the coast. And as soon as you get inland, those wind speeds are going to be lower. The second impact that we were looking at is storm surge. So the Keys, obviously, we know had a lot of storm surge and a lot of structural damage, a lot of older buildings built on grade. But we also saw some storm surge damage up around Marco Island in that area, and then some inland flooding up around Fort Myers. Wasn't that significant, but we also saw additional flooding from storm surge and rainfall up the east coast of Florida in Jacksonville. If you imagine that this hurricane is rotating counterclockwise, like the circle on this screen, it is driving water onto the east coast of Florida and causing storm surge on that side of Florida also. Same thing happened with Ian. In addition, we have a lot of rainfall up in Jacksonville, which caused additional flooding in combination with the storm surge. So we got 10 to 15 inches of rain in places from Irma. Ian actually exceeded that. If you look at this area right here where Jacksonville is, you have the storm surge coming this way, driving water up the bay. Then you have 10 to 15 inches of rain falling. That rain has nowhere to go, so you get a lot of inland flooding back in Jacksonville. For us, what's important to understand is what kind of flooding are we seeing? So inland rising water flooding is radically different than storm surge. The type of forces that are in play, as well as the type of damage we see, makes a difference. So stuff that's right on the coast getting hit by storm surge is going to be very different, for example, in Ian in Fort Myers Beach than we would see even in Cape Coral, much less in Orlando.